I'm here today to testify in support of this bill, legislation that will directly strengthen law enforcement operations, protect Texas communities, and uphold the rule of law by requiring the Texas driver's licenses and personal identification certificates indicate whether the holder is a U.S. citizen. As a former Border Patrol agent in the Rio Grande Valley sector, I spent years combating human smuggling, fraudulent identification schemes, and organized criminal activity. I have personally processed individuals who claim to be U.S. citizens, but were not, who falsified family relationships to bypass enforcement, and who carried counterfeit Texas driver's licenses produced by cartels to blend into American society undetected. I've seen how Texas' lack of clear citizenship designation on its most widely used identification document allows criminal networks to manipulate the system. This is not about racial discrimination. It is about ensuring that law enforcement officers can do their jobs effectively, that criminals cannot exploit our institutions, and that Texas upholds the rule of law. Citizenship is a fundamental legal status, one that determines eligibility for certain public benefits and enforcement jurisdiction in both state and federal cases. And that status, if that status is relevant in so many aspects of government, why should it be absent from the very document designed to verify identity? Texas' current system does not really allow officers to immediately confirm whether the individual is a U.S. citizen or not. And without a citizenship designation on an ID, an officer must either take the person's word for it when they are detained, say like in a traffic stop, or if there is reasonable suspicion, initiate a process that can involve federal agents, such as myself before as a Border Patrol agent, inquire through the Law Enforcement Support Center in Vermont. It's a 24-hour 7 call center that they can call, either do an NCIC check, and then once again check through the lessee in Vermont. All of these steps, all they do is introduce more delays, waste resources, and then hinder enforcement efforts. Federal courts have long recognized the authority of state law enforcement officers to make arrests for violations of federal law, including immigration violations. In the 10th Circuit in United States versus Salinas Calderon, it affirmed that a state trooper has general investigatory authority to inquire into possible immigration violations. Furthermore, Congress has explicitly encouraged state cooperation with federal immigration enforcement. In 1996, Congress amended the Immigration and Nationality Act to clarify that law enforcement officers may cooperate with the Attorney General and now DHS Secretary in the identification, apprehension, detention, or removal of aliens not lawfully present in the United States. HB 298 aligns with both congressional intent and judicial precedent. It is not preempted by federal law, and it strengthens Texas' ability to uphold the rule of law. Thank you for your time.
Representative Louderback.
Ammon, would this be probably one of the most important things for law enforcement right now?
100%, sir, especially since most law enforcement, as you're a big advocate for 287G program, most law enforcement currently are not. And so without that, that tool that they have, this is another tool that can be utilized and just bypass all that bureaucracy of getting a hold of like a Border Patrol agent or someone that has the authority to check that status.
So in a time frame where we just went through 4 years of some of those horrendous policies that we've ever seen in this country, would this be extremely critical as far as working cartel issues?
100%. As I mentioned earlier, we see it all the time, almost a daily basis, fraudulent documents from the Mexican cartels, utilizing whether that's going to be Texas driver's licenses, whether that's going to be birth certificates, all forms of identification to identify whether they're a citizen of this country or another country.
Is it fair to say that we have a fraudulent ID situation here in our state that's, in fact, every state, that is unprecedented?
Unprecedented, sir.
Thank you.
Vice Chair Lopez.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yeah, thanks for your testimony. I think there's a lot of points that are being made of why this could be or should be or might be beneficial. Help me understand something, help me feel better about a situation. Looking the way that I do, someone might consider me not automatically an American citizen if they don't hear me speak, if they don't see any identification. How can someone like myself feel comfortable between now and 2030, when my driver's license is going to have to be renewed, that I'm not going to get pulled over, assumed not to be an American citizen, and deported? Help me feel better about that situation.
That's a great question. Thank you, sir. So it's all based off of articulable facts. So a law enforcement officer, under whether that's going to be 287G program, whether that's going to be Operation Stone Garden on the border, we only arrest or detain based off of articulable facts. For a law enforcement officer, that's typically whether you made some infraction on the like a traffic or penal code. So there are already laws in the books in Texas Penal Code that forbids that action. So really, this is not about race. This is all about citizenship and nationality. As you know, sir, throughout the last 4 years, we've had over 170 different nationalities come through our border. It has nothing to do with what color of skin you have, or what ethnic background. It has everything to do with that citizenship status and nothing more.
Well, once again, I between now and 2030, when my driver's license will have the citizenship designation on it, while I do believe that the vast majority of our police officers and folks that are out in the public administering safety will understand and know what their responsibilities are, what their rights are, what the rights of the individual are. There could be someone that are out there that are a little zealous. What you're telling me is I shouldn't worry about that. And the reality is, if you were in my skin, you would worry about it. And I guess that's the only point that I want to make, is that there is anxiety about doing these kinds of things. I would hope that while you may not agree with it, that you at least acknowledge it.
Yes, sir. I mean, not every officer is there to, I mean, they've sworn an oath just like I did, but there's gaps. And of course, there's people that have different ideologies than you or I have. And so to protect it, that's why there's Texas Penal Code that prohibits racial profiling under the 287G program. There's also code in violations if they do also do racial profiling, which is overseen by ICE. So there are both on the federal side and on the state side. If it comes to the point where you as a subject make the claim that, hey, this was all based off of racial profiling, you had no articulable facts to either determine probable cause or reasonable suspicion, that is on then the law enforcement to then go forth and say, hey, these were the facts. The burden is on that law enforcement officer.
Representative Pearson.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you for being here, Ammon. And I just want to kind of delineate a difference between Texas and Wyoming. Based on your testimony, it seems like this would be critically important for a state like Texas to do just that for all the reasons that you've stated. Would you agree?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Just want to make sure.
All right, members, any other questions? All right, Ammon, thank you for being here.
All right, thank y'all.